गुड मॉर्निंग
सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग सौरभ, कैसे हैं?
सर गुड सर।
इट्स टू कोल्ड हियर.
यस सर।
Hello Aditya, how are you?
वेलकम।
Yes, sir. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. Abhi the discussions that I had with our alumni cell, I could not get. Where are you located as on this day?
So right now I'm in Bangalore.
I see. Great. So this is an Indian company? No, this one.
No, this is a US company.
But I am fascinated by this tagline here. Half price the healthcare, that's twice as good. Very nice.
Right.
Very nice. So it's nice. So you were here from 2007 to 11,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Great. It's nice to see you back here
Yeah. I'm
online.
really happy. Yeah.
So probably, I mean, in future you should make it a point to come here and see the developments physically. Please
Definitely.
Do come someday. Vivek has also joined.
Good morning, sir.
Hello Vivek, how are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Before they formally start this meeting, actually, I mean, probably 8-9 years back, I read one paper from a professor from IIM Ahmedabad. I don't remember the name of the professor, but I remember the name of the topic of the paper. He wrote one research paper, and you can find Vivek even this day that paper on Google. Why is Harvard number one? Why is Harvard number one? Can you guess it, Vivek? Why what would have promoted that professor to write this kind of an article?
It might be some case study regarding the Harvard University, and really it's number one in placement studies.
Not placement exactly. Placement. I mean the university is number one on a number of parameters. But why is this that it's number one?
Sir, I think it is because of their alumni network and their
Alumni
achievement.
network.
क्योंकि सौरभ एलुमनी सेल देख रहे हैं, एलुमनी की बात करेंगे अभी.
But sir, I believe that if we have the strong alumni network, then it will definitely flourish and give more prosperity to the university or institutions, because
True.
they are ambassador of any university.
So they can play a very different role.
Right sir.
Actually, आदित्य, उस पेपर में क्या मेंशन किया हुआ है that in the board of Harvard University, 100% members are the passed out students. All the board members are the alumni of the university. All. And in fact, there are some I think 10 or 20 more universities where they have mentioned that they are doing great, and then there are somewhere 90%, somewhere 80%, somewhere 70% of the board members are the alumnus of alumni of the university. So this is actually very important to connect to the people who had been here and who have passed out 10 years back, 15 years back. In fact, in the morning itself, actually the mail which was sent to me by our alumni cell, it went to spam folder. Sorry. So I just took that. And before that, probably Vivek will support me. I sent an email to my heads of the department that you please include these persons on your board of studies. So I mean, the decisions that we can take, so we should take those things forward at least. I mean, the constitution of the board is not in my hands. The constitution of the board is decided by the management, higher management. So that I can't do. But that thing, Vivek, which we can do, at least we should keep on doing that. So please, I requested in the morning itself, Saurabh, to all heads that include at least one or two persons from our alumni in the BOS itself. So they will give a
And sir, we have
perspective. Yes, Vivek?
sir, we have done this during the last BOS. We include the Saurabh Sood in our BOS as a member.
Hmm. Yeah. You think of Aditya also. So
Okay, sir.
he is in India itself. Probably Saurabh. He is in Germany, na? So he
Yeah,
can. So we can invite him to come here someday for the discussions for one day or even 2 days someday. Right. So probably. Aditya, so this is my thought process, Aditya, about the students who have passed from a specific place. Actually, I know that the place from where I have graduated, I have a different feeling about that place, and I can even you can contribute better than me in many aspects, I believe.
Yeah, I think totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of experience that we have seen working in the industry, and like
Yeah.
can help students prepare for that and share our experience. Yeah, take questions. People would have a lot of doubts about how to like make their career, and we can probably help them there.
True. Okay, Saurabh, probably I have introduced, I mean, you can introduce me, or otherwise. So I'll introduce myself. So Aditya, I joined this place as Vice Chancellor on 11th of August 2021. So around 5.5 months back only. But yes, I know that together we can take this place to a very different level. And I'm sure that there will be a great contribution in that journey of our students who have passed out from here and working in great places. With these words, actually, I take this opportunity to welcome you formally here for this particular webinar on technology and healthcare in 2022. And I look forward for larger participation of yours, your friends, your juniors, your seniors in the journey of this university in coming 5-10 years. Thank you so much for joining us. Please. Yes, sir.
Achyut,
Yes, sir, please.
uh,
Good morning, everyone. Saransh, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
First of all, I'd like to thank VC Sir, Professor Vivek Kumar Sehgal, Dr. Saurabh Bansal for joining, and all other faculty members, all the attendees for registering for the event. So, as VC Sir has quite a welcome, has introduced Aditya Sir, I just introduce Aditya Sir, what he does. So, Aditya Sir is an information technology professional currently working as the Director of Engineering at Firefly Health. He is an alumnus of 2011 batch from the Department of Computer Science. He has 10 plus years of industry experience in the field of IT and healthcare. He has worked in Accenture and Athenahealth. So I'll give the opportunity to Dr. Saurabh Bansal to just introduce what Alumni Cell does. After that, we'll start with the talk.
okay, thank you, Achyut. Very good morning to all of you. I, Dr. Saurabh Bansal, being the faculty in charge of Alumni Cell. So I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor R.K. Sharma ji, and Head of the CSD Department, Professor Vivek Sehgal, and other HODs who are present here, and my faculty colleagues, my students, and other participants. So on this occasion, I also welcome Mr. Aditya Kumar Singh, who take our call for giving a webinar to our students and to our participants on the current topic, health and technologies in the COVID scenario. And he's the pass out of 2011 batch, and he's the today's speaker. I take this opportunity to brief about our alumni cell at JOIT. So alumni cell is an entity that represents JOIT in alumni relations and endures to be a primary linkage between the university and its global family of alumni, committing them to the university's lifelong learning, discovery, and participation, and attracting them to university service. We aspire to provide and support alumni programs and services and facilitate communication with alumni and seek to strengthen alumni bonds of fellowship, professional association, and university affiliations. More than 7,000 students from diverse departments have graduated from JUIT, Waknaghat, and are doing very well in their current positions. In last decades, our students have dispersed across the country and even internationally in quest of growth, learning, and knowledge, and their achievements have made an impact everywhere. We are ecstatic that our students have established themselves as successful persons in nearly every aspect of their lives. So I would also like to say that the fame of an institution is not built only by on its administration and teaching staff, but also on the accomplishment and development of its student. So nothing could be more exhilarating for us than celebrating the achievements of our alumni, our students who have gone above and beyond. So Mr. Aditya is one of our distinguished alumni of batch 2011 who is doing great in his field, and currently he is the Director of Engineering of Firefly Health, Bangalore, India. I also I congratulate him for his achievement and hope he will always be connected with us in future. And before we begin this webinar, I also congratulate my student executive body for organizing this alumni talk come webinar, which creates a special bonding between the students and the alumni who have established themselves already in the big outside world. And alumni talk is an excellent opportunity for all the students to meet their alumni and learn from their experience. I hope you will not only enjoy this talk, but also learn a lot from a talk on technology and healthcare, what opportunities and challenges in current scenario. Finally, I would like to congratulate again Mr. Aditya for his achievements and best of luck for his future endeavors. Thank you.
I request Aditya sir to begin with the talk.
Thank you for having me here. I think really excited to talk to all of you and engage in future as well. Uh, I'll start with like talking about what like experiences I have had in the last 10 years. So like I started in Accenture, and there it was a project around freight and logistics. So basically the air cargo and ocean cargo industry. So Accenture was building products to manage softwares in that industry. And funny thing was like when we joined, like 10 of us from Jaypee, like all three different locations, we were all put in the same project group, which was for this project, and we were given like three different like softwares to build. One was a software around route manager, so basically a software which curates like what would be the shortest path or most efficient path a ship can go on different ports and manage its course. The second one was around cost. So how much cost would a container take based on size and dimensions and other things. And like the third was around scheduling. So basically you have a start and end time of like when the ship would reach a port, when would it leave, and the most complicated part there would be time zones, because each port have like different time zones there, and we have to account for those things as well. And I brought this up because there were like different opportunities in these three projects, which like as a fresher when I joined this company, like did not have much insights or idea before, like how should I proceed in my career. And what was explained was that route manager we already had built for air industry, so like cargo that gets shipped from airlines, and it would need around 20% modifications to make it useful in the ocean industry as well. The costing was around 50% modification from what we had for the air industry, and scheduling was all brand new, a product that needed to be built. And like I just went to my delivery manager and told her that I would like to be part of like the scheduling manager product, since it was getting built from scratch. And I thought at that time, like, it would give me a good opportunity to like see a product being built from day one. And I feel like that had been the best decision so far that I've made. This was a great learning experience there. So from day one, understanding like what requirements, like what is the software needs to do, talking to different clients, understanding that, and then like starting writing the first line of code to build that. It took around 2.5 years to build that product, and then it was deployed. There was a company in Singapore, second in the world in the ocean cargo industry, and we deployed it there. I got an opportunity to go to Singapore to like launch this and implement this product with them. So I was there for 3 months to support the go live, because initially when you launch a new product, it takes a lot of feedback. Things are working, this is a new product, people have challenges. So like a team of like 3 or 4 of us was sitting in the office of the client and was supporting them with any issues they had with the product, because we were considered as the subject matter experts to help them build it. So this was my like first 2.5 years, lot of learning and opportunity to see a product like from scratch to like production. And then came back to India, and the other two projects that I talked about, those were 80% or 90% done. So next 1 year I helped complete those. And then I moved to Athenahealth. So that's where I started my journey in healthcare. And at that point, it was just a switch to move from a service-based industry like Accenture, Infosys, to a product-based company, which is like Athenahealth was. The difference between the two is that service-based companies take projects where it is time-bound. So a client would request for a project, we would build it, and the code is proprietary of the client. So we like ship the code to them and they own it. Next time a different client comes, we'll have to build a different product for them and then deliver it to them. And they might get like maintenance contract over the time to maintain that project. So that's how like service industry works. Product based industry, what it does is like it builds one product and keeps reselling it. So that's where like they call themselves like doing R&D, and because they are investing in the same product year over year to make it better, and the same product is being sold like hundred thousands of times. That's how like they grow. The more people they sell, like all the effort of engineering is going into that one single project. It's not like building new projects every other year. So moved to Athenahealth, and for the first couple of years was working as part of their revenue management product, which was dealing with claims. So it was basically a US healthcare company, and in US healthcare, 90% of the payments are being dealt by insurance. So it is very different from how like Indian healthcare is working right now, where we do have insurances, but it mostly apply in inpatient settings, like hospital settings where you get admitted or having surgeries. But we don't really have much coverage for what we call as outpatient, which is like a normal doctor visit that you go for a 30-minute appointment when you are sick. But in the US, like both outpatient and inpatient are covered by insurances, and there is a concept called copay. So for example, 10% copay or a $20 copay. So whatever the bill is, you have to pay just that $20, and the remaining amount would be claimed by the insurance payer. And that makes this part of the healthcare industry like tech driven, because now you have these claims to be filed and some may get rejected. You need to then correct and send it, and it is a big manual task to do it. And what technology does is like what we used to do is build a rule engine. So every time an insurance claim was rejected, we would find out why was it rejected, built it into a software, so that next time we catch it proactively. So that's how the rule engine gets smarter with every claim rejection, and we keep reducing the number of rejections there. So that was the main product there that I was working for 2 years, which helped doctors in US get paid faster. And after that, I moved to their clinical department. And what the clinical team did was build software that the doctors use. So digital health that we call it today, like all the documentation is done digitally so that you have a record of all patients, their medications, what problems they have, all the lab reports. And like US in that sense is running like at least 20 years ahead of India. Like in India, you would see like we are still doing paper-based prescriptions. So whenever you go to a doctor, you'll get a paper prescription with the medications. You go to a chemist, get the thing done, and either you maintain that in a file for future reference or it get lost. But what US did like 20 years back, like US government added a regulation that you need to maintain digital records of all patients. And it was a gradual journey. So what they did was, for the first couple of years, they said whoever would show us even a single record of patient digitally will give you like 1% extra on your insurance claim. So that incentivized doctors to like buy these or use these softwares to maintain their record digitally. Once people adopted these, uh, let's do this first. Right. So right now, like diverging a bit to that, like I'll probably hit that in 2 minutes. So yeah, I was talking about the digital records. So what they did was like then a couple of years later, change that to 50%. Like 50% of appointments that you get should be digital, and then we will pay you. And 5 years down the line, they said if you don't do it now, we'll penalize you. So that's how they promoted the adoption of technology in healthcare. And in India as well, like now, if you read about a national digital health mission, which was launched by our Prime Minister a year back, which is starting that digital record creation in healthcare in India as well. And jumping to like what technologies will help our students excel in their career, like it's becoming like niche skill is becoming a thing in India now. So when like we passed out in 2011, there were only like let's say 20% jobs which were of R&D in nature, where you are like building new products. 80% was support and maintenance. So you would have seen like anybody, whether you did engineering and civil, electrical, electronics, like everybody was getting placed in IT companies, and they were doing 45 to 3 months training to get basics, basic knowledge. Like students learn those basic knowledge, and basically they have to just do bug fixes and small like monitor the production software. If it is down, any issues are reported, which did not require much technology expertise or like a lot of coding knowledge. So with little training and like learning, like people were able to manage it. But that landscape has changed now. So in India, like I would say like 50% split. Like now 50% of the jobs are R&D in nature. And if you like are not good in like coding, like you cannot grow in the industry as well. Like, and it becomes very difficult for you to survive. So all the CS and IT like group needs to focus on that. And technologies like Java is still like most prevalent. and then like Node.js is becoming like the next thing that like people are focusing, because Node.js gives you a backend and front end kind of experience in a same framework. You don't need to learn like different technology to manage a UI as well as the backend service. So that's one thing that is getting more popular and getting adopted. There are a lot of shiny other technologies like Golang and other things. Kotlin you should have heard, but those are just in like right now in scope or experimentation stuff. Like big companies don't adopt new languages pretty early, because they will be having challenges and issues in that language that needs to be refined. So there is a lifespan of a particular language that stays. So like we cannot migrate softwares which are like from being used from 10 years 15 years in a day. Like I worked on a migration project which was changing software from Perl language, which is like pretty ancient, like that we could call is phasing out. So from Perl to Node.js, and that is a massive exercise. Like 2 years I worked on it. It's still like 60% done, and it would probably take 3 or 4 more years to migrate the entire software from Perl to Node.js. So yeah, so from a technology like a coding perspective, engineering perspective, I would say like Java and Node.js. If you like focus on those two, it would help you set up for a good career. Another thing that is booming and will continue to boom is data science. So lot of machine learning and analytics are being applied in different domains and different industries, which is helping like gain efficiencies. So for example, in healthcare, so from the last 4 years, I've been working in like the value-based care. So what it means is like we don't get paid for every appointment, but we get paid when the patient is healthy. So that is pushing us to build smarter and intelligent solutions using the data to predict like which patient population is getting sick or which patient population needs that this type of care based on their age, gender, different demographic informations, based on their family history, uh, based on like how many surgeries or what have been their past medications. We could predict a lot of things and make things proactive, like before people like get sick, like we have outreach to them prior and making sure we keep them healthy, and they are incentivized to do that because they're not getting paid for every appointment, because that was sort of uh, wrong incentive. So if a doctor is getting paid for every appointment, they will want the patient to visit them more frequently. But now when they get paid to keep them healthy, like they will get paid even if the patient did not visit them for the entire year. So because like they kept them healthy, so that is what like is now getting prevalent, and data science is helping a lot of things there. So building different machine learning models to predict cancer, like people with tobacco usage, we can predict like who needs a tobacco screening due. So those kind of things. I can pause for a minute if like there are any specific things you want to like deep dive into.
Uh, Aditya, I mean, this is very interesting. Sorry. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, yeah.
This is very interesting to know that, I mean, even in this kind of a situation, people are using machine learning. But I remember one discussion with one of fourth year students here that they applied some kind of machine learning technique to find the some.
I think there is an internet issue with the VC
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. So I can probably touch on like internship while VC sir comes back. So in your third year, like there is an ask to do like an internship during your like summer break, and at least in our times, like not many people used to take it like seriously and do those internships. But I would say like I think that is a good platform or like time to get some exposure in like a real industry and like get to work on it, even if you're not getting paid for that internship. But learning is there. Like I think the initial first 5 years like should be focused on learning, and like find an internship where they are looking for interns to help them be part of a real product which is being used by clients, and not any sort of like experimentation or uh, make a internal tool to help with something. Like those things are less helpful than something which is like live in production and being used. I think VCs are you're back. So
Yeah. So I was using my desktop, but laptop, but it's not working. So I connected using my phone. So I was just saying, I mean, this data sets are very important. Uh, so I don't know. I mean, I'll request some of my students here of third year to actually work on this kind of a project which we are mentioning, that you are using ML techniques to predict based on some data that one is having cancer or one is not having cancer, right?
right.
Can somehow in some form a smaller set, a smaller data set can be shared with us, and then I'll request them to synthetically generate some more examples.
So I think there are a lot of tools available online to generate like fake patient data. So
Okay.
like something like Faker and other tools are there. I can look up and like share with the team, which will generate a good amount of data set that can be like played around with and like build specific models and like train the data set around that. Like
Uh,
one example, I think, is around chat triage as well. You would have seen like these Autobots coming up that you write something and then it gives you a couple of options, and based on that, like they're reducing the human effort there. So that is another area where a lot of machine learning is being applied.
Thank you. I'll request Saurav to take this further, please. And also my third year students here who are third year, at least third year students, please look into these kind of ideas. They will help you for a better place in life. Thank you. Thank you, Aditya.
I think Samyak has raised a hand.
You are muted, Samyak. Unmute yourself first. Okay, he's not able to unmute himself, probably.
Okay. I think the host can unmute him. Who's hosting the meeting?
Sir, everyone has the access to
Okay, there may be some technical
access their microphones.
times
We
this
can't.
happens. Write chat box
Yes, please.
your point, Samyak.
I think a couple of other points, like for specifically preparing for these like interviews that you will have at the end of like in your fourth year, is like Hacker Rank, and there are other tools similar to that, which gives you a good training set and questions to like code and then get like tougher levels. You can select the technology you want to like uh, like opt for and prepare for that. So that will help you a lot, because every interview now like has a coding round. And even like for me, like after 10 years, if I go for a job change, like I need to do a coding round before I go to the next level. In the
Great.
past, like it was after 5-6 years, we become a team lead and you don't need to code anymore, just manage people. But that mindset is changing now, and less of hierarchy and more of like individual contribution is being preferred and like promoted.
Yes. I requested actually Vivek to do something here on this particular front. That our students should actually have some kind of rank in these coding platforms, CodeShap. I mean, there are a number of
Right.
platforms these days.
Yeah.
Vivek, you can throw a light on that so that these students are motivated to go for that, which we discussed.
Yeah, sir. Actually, we have already having MOU with the code chef. I think you have got a mail from that Shruti, and soon we are going to blend the experiments we are going to do in the lab with the code chef. And
Code.
I have also advised the student to put the moment they are going to do their project work, the minor and major project, the code should be appear in what you call the GitHub. So
Yeah.
it gives you the more, it's the wide spectrum, the person who's recruiting from the outside, and they can find out the candidate of their own choice.
So the
So,
better
and
these platforms, so better placement will be there.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And thanks for
So,
the suggestions, sir. These all suggestions are from your side, and students
any
are really very happy
quick may
to do this.
sorry, yeah, I mean this is becoming different conversation, but I'll take only one statement that actually having MOUs is not the only solution. We have to motivate these young minds somehow. Yes, Aditya, please. Which probably Aditya can do better than us.
No, I think, yeah, like if you're using a one platform and like promoting that, we can have those different ranks and like a healthy competition between the students to like keep advancing there and see like
True.
who is advancing. People who are like not able to solve the question, the others who have solved it and can help them, like probably can arrange for a working session, that we call it, like people who have doubts around questions are getting stuck, people who have solved it can help them, and that can help like teach and learn, and be like that would be really helpful. Samyak, if you want to go with the question.
Sure. Thank you, Aditya sir. Good morning to all faculty members, VC sir. Hi, Aditya sir. I am Samyak. I am a graduate from the 2011 to 15 batch. I very fondly remember my introduction to artificial intelligence, advanced technologies, and Internet of Things in Vivek sir's classes. And my query actually, Aditya sir, is more on the implementation side and getting hands-on knowledge. You suggested that students in their third year should focus on industry internships and in a manner that they get hands-on deployment experience. But I mean, I'm sure the faculty members and you would agree that for a 2 month span time, it is very hard for us students to get, first of all, get into internships that are working on live customer solutions. And second of all, even if we get into these sort of companies, then it is kind of a rare chance that we get a live deployment solution, because even the implementation side feels that if there is some skill gap to be covered, that these kids need help or some extent of hand holding, then they feel that 2 months is very short, a very short period of time to upskill these students or the resources, so to speak, and then have them deliver on a deployable solution. So my ask is, instead of just keeping that as an option, because as students there is a variety of the level of skill set. Some would be very skilled and very much into coding and stuff, but at the same time there is going to be another majority layer of students which is not the creme de la creme, so to speak, the top 25 percentile, but the second and the third percentile, so third quartiles, is where I want to ask that question, that would you rather suggest that they go for an advanced learning course so that they have a better understanding and insight into a coding program, or should everybody kind of gun for live industry projects?
So, like a learning thing, like I feel like could be done uh, outside of that 2 month period as well. Like doesn't need to be just on those 2 months. And regarding the issue of like not getting the opportunity, so my experience is like if you look for big companies internships in like established enterprise companies, you are right. Interns are hired to do like bit and pieces. They won't be like included in a big life project. But like look for startups, like small scale companies. Like I'm on the board of an Indian healthcare startup, and they regularly look for interns where like they have to pay less and include them in a live project and like help
Right.
them get it coded. So there are a lot of opportunities there where
Right.
like you don't need a brand name there, you need learning, and you go for these companies who are looking for their economical efficiency, whereas you are also getting the learning that you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wanted this answer on the open forum. Why? Because you and I can probably look in hindsight and connect the dots, but for somebody
Right.
who's in second year and third year, it can be a very overwhelming piece of information that, okay, I need to look for this, and just kind of create a picture here that they're able to add all the blocks and they can look both forward and backwards from that. So I agree with you that smaller startups is a good place to start, and it's not just the bigger brands. And that is what I want to encourage everybody here. And I mean, with due permission from the host and the chief guest. But yeah, so that's where I was coming from. Thank you so much.
The next question was from Gurleen. What was it like to shift from building a logistics software for shipboards to healthcare? Uh, like after moving to healthcare, like now I feel like I would continue this for the rest of my career, because that's this domain is like will never have a recession or like is just getting started. So a lot of these freight and logistics, finance, e-commerce, like everything has been done there. Like people have saturated that space, and we are just getting repetitive companies who are getting funded and like doing a similar thing in that space. But healthcare is just getting started. Even in US, it has a long way to go, and India like is just started like year or two back. So like next 20 years, you could imagine like healthcare IT space in India like is going to like go places, and a lot of opportunities going to be there. So I personally love healthcare. Nothing against any other domain. Uh, Next was, what has been your biggest success factor? So I would say like I think focus on the things that you do well. I think that has been one learning. Like when we are in like school and colleges, like generally we are pushed to do like jack of all trades. But what I've learned is like that doesn't work in the career. Like you need to be master of one. So you need to find like during school and college, you need to find something that you are really good at. Like what are your strengths? It's good to work on your weaknesses, but everyone should be knowing what their strengths are, and like building a career on that is going to help you like push forward, and not trying to like do little bit of everything. I think that's has been my biggest learning, which has helped me like grow faster in the industry. Next one is major trends affecting the IT industry, and where do you see this leading the profession? Yeah, so as I mentioned, like I think more niche skills, like with COVID, a lot of this work from home has started, and majority of the industry is shifting towards this hybrid model where people will never go back to like a full 9 to 5, 5 days a week kind of work situation. So people would be like working from home, and when you work from home, then these jobs of team lead, people managers, like who are just walking around and seeing, getting status from everybody, like is not needed. Like everybody is at their home, you need to trust that they are delivering independently. And that's how that the first 8 years, I would say, like focusing on that individual contributor role, and actually either like analytics or engineering, like one of these two, like invest there and build something and get yourself upskilled every year, would be the way. Like that's how things will go. Like you'll get a lot of opportunity if you have the skill. Money and job will never be an issue. So I think there's a lot of talk around like jobs in private sector is like not secure versus public sector. Like what I have seen is like that's not true. If you are good, you never have an issue with stability in like this industry.
Mel, sir, you can go ahead.
Hi Aditya sir and all my respected faculty members. I am a 2021 pass out from JUIT in EC background. So I think your journey has been very fascinating, Aditya sir. Like I really liked your journey from the like a service-based company switch to product-based company, and right now you're in healthcare. So I would like to tell you, I am right now in the Cognizant IT solution. So I did my internship in Facets. Facets is also like related to healthcare only. It's a healthcare service. So basically, it's about claim processing, billing, and I help to improve the critical business. And also like I really enjoyed being there, being a part of healthcare. And right now, I am in a Humana project under Cognizant, Humana. So I just want to ask you, like, am I on the right track? Actually, I am also very much like happy working in healthcare sector right now. I am also in like Humana, and also being in, to be truly speaking, like being in an electronics background, I never focused more on coding part in my college life, like Java, Python. I always believe like why should electronics be like I always believe like electronics should be like a different completely different field, not only like copying the CS students or IT students. Like they should focus more on the chip designing. Like they should widen up their own area. So right now I feel being in healthcare, I'm doing everything. Like I'm in testing, I'm in monitoring, I am in developing the developing as well. We used to have a daily like of 13, like we used to have 13 days sprint as well. So I am really very much happy with what I am doing right now. So can you just guide me, like what in the coming years, what should I focus more on so that I will like be on the edge of my career, like a top, so that whatever I do, it will be great. And mostly I want to do in the healthcare itself because I am really liking it.
Yeah. So I think if you're liking the work and the domain, that's good. One thing is like as long as you are learning, like continue in the same project or domain and like build that expertise there. Like my advice for people, like when to like look for a change is when you get in a comfort zone. So what happens in big companies like Cognizant, Accenture, Infosys is like they'll train and give you a lot of opportunities to learn, but like once you have gained that expertise in like 3 or 4 years, you start getting repetitive work, because from their point of view it makes sense. Like you are now expert in a particular thing, you would do a particular thing well, so they'll keep giving you similar projects to make things more efficient. But like from our perspective, the learning slows down. So whenever you get a sense of like, no, my job has become easy, and you're still in your less than 10 years experience, I would say like that's the time for you to sweat it out. So when you get an easy thing, like move out, look for opportunities which is like a next level and help you then like get into your uncomfortable zone and again have a learning curve for 2 3 years. So that's how like I have paced my career, and like advise the same to you.
Definitely, sir. Actually, I am when I joined Humana, almost 2 months ago. I'm in the Humana project, so I was I am the only new one here. Rest all are my seniors here in the project I am. So I think like this is my learning curve, right? So I am just trying to learn as much as I can, working on development as well. Like it is not expected from me to work on development right now, but yeah, I try to engage myself in all other activities as well, testing, development, and whatever I can do. Because just now my lead, like my senior lead, left the company, so my the expectation from me had also increased. Like I should learn quick and I should gain much more experience as soon as possible. So I'm trying my best also in this thing. So I just really like the way you are right now. You're doing good in healthcare, and definitely I will try to be again in the same situation where I get to learn more and try to explore more. Thank you so much, sir. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. So next one is, what was it like to lead a team for the first time? Yes, I think good question there. I think this is maybe not applicable for now, but I think one thing that will come up in future is when you get to lead a team, the team should like respect you, and like that doesn't come with just a title, that your title as a team leader or manager. The team will respect you. The team will respect you if you are able to like help them resolve their issues, so they can look up to you and say like if they are stuck, you'll be able to help them. So that's something like whenever you're leading a team or like trying to become a lead, like become that servant leader where your job is to make sure your team is unblocked and working at their potential, and not sort of try to lift your like just yourself up. So whenever there is uh, a win or an accomplishment, like give the credit to the entire team, and whenever there's a failure, like take it on yourself, and don't do a blame game on your team that okay, this is your fault and because of you it went fall. If you are a team lead, you need to take responsibility for the failures, and then like basically then the team will respect you and work harder to make sure it does not happen again. So that has been my experience. What kind of accomplishments tend to be valued and rewarded in this field? I think ownership and accountability is one thing which I've seen is always valued and rewarded. So if you are signed up for a project, if you're looking at a particular thing and you show that zeal that okay, you are taking this project or the work to the full capacity and like making sure that nothing goes bad there. If you're getting stuck, you are immediately like highlighting it. If you find issues in some other people code related to your project, you are highlighting that outside of your area of scope. So I think those things are like visible, people do notice them, and there are those few people who take this accountability, and they are they get promoted and like uh, get a fast track ladder, because not everybody does that. So it's a rare what do you say a rare not talent, but then a nature or competency that people who take accountability of their work are less. So those people are they get rewarded. And yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges you face day to day? I think this one is too broad a question, but I think if you're talking about the first couple of years when you start in a company, I think the biggest challenge is you don't know much about life systems. You don't know like how to solve them. So building that connection with your seniors is like helps there, where you have people you could go to unblock yourself. I think that's the way like you overcome that. Like have 3 or 4 people, senior people in your team who have a good contact with you, and they help you when you get blocked, because you will get blocked in the first couple of years as you like learn and grow. What are the major challenges in health tech sectors in today's scenario? So different challenges based on different like countries. Like in India, the biggest challenge is how you cannot apply tech until you have a digital record. So as long as people keep writing paper prescriptions and like there's no digital record, you can't really apply any tech to that. So that's the biggest, like adoption is the biggest problem in health tech industry in India right now. And my opinion is that government needs to like incentivize doctors and hospitals and clinics to maintain that record for tech to be able to help them. And like US, Europe, the biggest challenge is the cost of healthcare. So that's where like most of the focus is. And like Firefly Health as well, like I think VC sir mentioned before, that the mission is to deliver healthcare which is twice as good and with half the cost. So the way they are trying to do is focus on these value based things, where you focus on getting a patient healthy. And then like Firefly Health is also getting into insurance space so that it can cut the cost, which is like middleman cost, if you call it, to make healthcare cheaper. Okay, so we have 1 minute away, so I'll take these two as last questions. You can post other questions. I'll try to like answer them offline and send it to your team. So according to you, which are the major coding languages which are required the most nowadays by big organizations? Yeah, so like Java, Node.js are most commonly used ones. Uh, Python, Django is also like getting a lot of uh, benefit. Like you'll find a job in Python as well. So these are the three languages I would say like you could work on. Like not need to work on all three. Like pick one of them and like like you'll find a job there. What is the importance of data security in healthcare industry? Yeah, so healthcare industry, like data security is the top most concern. Like we call it PHI, like patient healthcare information, and that needs to be protected, cannot be shared with different people. So other industries, like this is not a challenge. Like there is no sensitive information that needs to be secured or like within the organization itself. Like even in my company, we cannot view all the records that we have collected from patients, because that patient could be related to somebody working in our US team or something like that. So data security is a topmost concern. That is the reason healthcare is moving slowly, because it needs to be like slow and protected, and because people's lives are at stake, there is less room for error. That if your service is down, it cannot impact the patient safety. Like that's where healthcare is going slow and steady over the years.
Yeah, Aditya, one question from my side.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen many students are doing the projects, and they have nice novelities, nice ideas to implement them. Recently, I've seen one fellow has implemented the retinopathy to detect the what you call the sugar level or diabetic patients. So when once kind of things has been done and they do have bit capacity to develop a small prototype, the next thing is how to promote this prototype in the real industry.
Uh, yeah, like there are two ways. One is open source, which is like open to everybody. Like, right, if you're not looking for any monetary benefit, then put up your project in like GitHub and to an open source community, and that gets promoted from there. Like share the links and like get the network to share it. If it is like you want to continue working on it, or like want this prototype to get into production, then would need to find a company or a board to back that. So that is more difficult. Will need to have like a pretty unique and like a prototype which is a lot of benefit for like what do you say, business value. So I think we definitely could have a few cases in that category, and I think alumni network would be a good place to share that and see like if that can be promoted and like brought forward. But open source is like one thing which is valued in the industry as well. Like people go to your GitHub page and see what all projects you have done, how frequent your contribution is. So there is like a chart of those months and how much code you have done each month. So those things like are really looked at and like are valued if somebody is pretty active there. Like you, even if you're not creating a new project, there are a lot of bugs and small enhancements requested in a lot of open source projects, and you can make contributions there. It could be very small as a bug fix, it could be as large as a new project, but yeah, that is one area people could focus on. Okay, thank you for having me here. I think it was great talking to all of you.
Vinamrata? Yes, Harish.
Yes, so now I'm Vinamrita. A coordinator of the Alumni Cell would like to take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Alumni Cell JUIT. At the outset, we would like to thank our alumnus, Mr. Aditya Kumar Singh, for his gracious presence and the impactful deliverance speckled with useful words of rich experience and wisdom. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, sir. We would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumar Sharma, sir, and HOD of Department of CSC, Professor Vivek Kumar Sehgal, for accepting our invitation and gracing us with their honorable presence. Just one thing that at the end, that one update regarding the next event, I would hand over it to our Secretary of the Alumni Cell.
I'll just take 1 minute. There is one update regarding our next event. So he's Sohil Sharma sir, 2006 batch pass out. So he'll be coming on 29th of this month. So I request everyone to be present. We are all excited for this event. He scaled Mount Everest in 2016 from China side. Only 15% of the summiters have go through that side, and that side is very dry and one of the toughest. So and in 2015 he was just he got an avalanche. He was about to be die in the at the mountain. So we are all excited. So I request everyone to join the event. Thank you.
Now, a special thanks to the organizing committee for their unflinching support and hard work. Our heartfelt thanks to all the attendants for their active participation. With these warm words and kind message, we move to the end of today's event. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Aditya, we will connect, please.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Connect again, please. Please. Thank you. Thank you for coming live.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Aditya.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, VC sir. Thank you, Vivek sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Saurabh sir.
Thank you.